Act 1 of Georges Dandin, or The Abashed Husband, by Moliere, translated by Henry Van Loan. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
What a strange thing it is to be a woman of quality and a wife, and what an instructive lesson my marriage is to all peasants who wish to raise themselves above their condition and to ally themselves, as I have done, to a nobleman's family. Nobility in itself is good. It is a thing worthy of respect, surely. But it is attended by so many ugly circumstances that it is better not to come in contact with it. I have become very knowing on that subject, to my cost, and understand now the way of noblemen when they allow us to enter their families. We ourselves count for very little in the match. They only marry our property, and I would have done much better, rich as I am, to marry a good and honest peasant's daughter than to take a wife who holds herself above me, is ashamed to bear my name, and imagines that with all my wealth I have not paid dear enough for the honor of being her husband. George Dandin, you have committed the greatest folly in the world. My home has become unbearable to me now, and I never enter it without finding some annoyance. What the devil can that fellow want in my house?
There's someone looking at me.
He does not know me.
He suspects something.
Bless my soul, he will barely nod to me.
I'm afraid he will say that he saw me.
Good day to you.
Your servant?
You do not belong to this place, I believe.
No, I have come only to see the feast tomorrow.
Just tell me, if you please, did you not come out thence?
Hush!
Why so?
Quiet!
What is the matter?
You must not say you saw me come out there.
Why?
Because...
Well, what?
Softly! I'm afraid they will hear us.
Not at all, not at all.
Because I have just been delivering a message to the mistress of the house from a certain gentleman who has an eye upon her, and it must not be known. Do you understand?
Yes.
I have been told to take care that no one should see me, and let me beg of you not to say that you have seen me. The husband, from what they tell me, is dreadfully jealous, who will not allow his wife to be made love to. He is to know nothing of all this.
To be sure.
They wish to deceive him quietly. You understand me?
Perfectly.
If you go and say that you have seen me, you will spoil the whole affair.
What is the name of him who sent you there?
He is our squire, Viscount of somebody. By my troth, I never remember how the deuce they managed to pronounce his name. Mr. Clitander?
Is it that young courtier who lives...
Yes, not far from those trees.
That is why this civil young spark has come to live so close to me. I smell a rat. Certainly. And his vicinity has always given me some suspicions.
He is the most gentlemanlike man you ever met with. He has given me 3 gold pieces only to go and tell the lady that he is in love with her and that he wishes the honour of being able to speak with her. It was not much trouble to be so well paid for it, compared with a day's work, for which I get only 10 sous.
Well, have you delivered your message?
Yes, I found inside a certain Claudine who understood directly what I wanted and who gave me speech with her mistress.
Oh, what a jade that maid is.
This Claudine is as pretty as can be, and it will be her fault if we are not married.
But what answer has the mistress made to this Mr. Courtier?
She has told me to tell him, stop, that she is very much obliged to him for his affection, and that he must be very careful on account of her husband, who is whimsical.
Baggage of a wife.
Jiminy, that will be funny, for the husband will not dream of the trick. That is the best of it, and he will be taken in for all his jealousy. Goodbye. Keep silence, mind. Keep the secret well, so that the husband may not know of it.
Yes, yes.
As for myself, I am a cunning fellow, and people would not think that I have anything to do with it.
Well, George Dandin, you see how your wife treats you? That is your reward for having wished to marry a lady of quality. You are completely done for. Without being able to revenge yourself, and nobility ties your hands. Equality of condition leaves the husband at any rate the freedom of resentment, and if this were a country wench, you would now have the full liberty to right yourself by giving her a good thrashing. But you wished to have a taste of nobility, and you were tired of being master in your own house. I am bursting with rage, and I would willingly box my own ears. What, to listen impudently to the declaration of some fop, and to promise him at the same time that his love would be returned? I will not let such an opportunity slip me. I must at this very moment go and complain to her father and mother, and take them to witness all the events of the vexations and annoyance which their daughter causes me. But here they come, just at the right moment.
What is the matter? You seem quite upset.
So I have cause to be, and—
Good heavens, son-in-law, how unpolite you are, not to bow to people when you approach them.
Upon my word, mother-in-law—
Again? Is it possible, son-in-law, that you know fashion so little, and is there no teaching you how to behave among people of quality? Will you never divest yourself with me of the familiarity of that word, mother-in-law? And can you not accustom yourself to call me Madame?
If you call me your son-in-law, it seems to me I may call you my mother-in-law.
That remains to be seen, and the case is not the same. Please to understand that it is not for you to use that word with a person of my rank, that although you may be our son-in-law, and that you ought to know your place.
That is enough, my love.
Good heavens! You are more indulgent than anyone else, and you do not know how to make people give you your due.
Egad, I do not require any lessons upon that subject, and during my life I have shown that I am not a man to abate a tittle of my pretensions, but a hint is quite sufficient for him. Let us know a little what you have got on your mind.
Since I am to speak categorically, I should tell you that I have cause to—
Gently, son-in-law. We must only say, sir, to those above us.
Well then, only say sir, and no longer Monsieur de Sautenville. I must tell you that my wife gives me—
Softly. You ought not to say my wife when you speak of our daughter.
I have no patience. What? Is not my wife my wife?
Yes, son-in-law, she is your wife, but you must not call her so. You could not do more if you had married one of your equals.
For gracious sake, put your gentility aside for a moment and allow me to speak to you as best I can. I tell you that I am very much dissatisfied with my marriage.
And the reason, son-in-law?
To speak thus of an affair from which you have such advantages?
And what advantages, madam, since madam it is to be? The bargain has not been a bad one for you. Your affairs, had it not been for me, would have been in a very dilapidated condition. But as for myself, what have I profited by it, unless it be the lengthening of my name, and instead of being George Dandin, to have received the title of Monsieur de la Dandiniere?
Do you reckon for nothing the advantage of being allied to the house of Sautonville?
And to that of La Prudoterie, by that valuable privilege, will make your sons noblemen.
Oh, that is good. My sons shall be noblemen, but I shall be myself a cuckold.
What does this mean?
It means that your daughter does not behave as a wife ought to do. She does things which are contrary to honor.
Gently, take care what you are saying. My daughter belongs to a race too full of honor ever to do aught that might offend honesty. And as for the house of La Prudoterie, for more than 300 years, no woman has been talked about.
Egad, there has never been a flirt in the house of Sautonville, and bravery is not more hereditary in the males than in the females.
We have had a Jacqueline de la Prudoterie who would never be the mistress of a governor.
There was a Martherine de Sautonville who refused 20,000 crowns, who asked only for the favor of speaking to her.
Well, your daughter is not so straight-laced as all that, and she has grown tractable since she has been with me.
Explain yourself, son-in-law. We are not people to support her in any wrong actions.
We do not understand jesting in matters of honor, and we have brought her up in the greatest strictness.
All I can tell you is, there is a certain courtier thereabout, who is in love with her, and who has sent her a declaration of his love, to which she has very freely listened.
By the heavens above, I would strangle her with my own hands.
I would pass my sword through her body and that of a gallant, were she to forfeit her honor.
I have told you what is going on to justify my complaints.
Do not torment yourself. I will get at you from both, and I am the man to keep a tight hold over. But are you quite positive what you have told us?
Quite.
Take great care, for between gentlemen these are ticklish subjects, and you must not make a mistake.
I have said nothing but the truth.
My love, go and talk with your daughter, while I, with my son-in-law, will go and speak with that man.
Is it possible, my son, that she could so far forget herself after the good example which I have set her?
We are going to clear the matter up. Follow me, son-in-law. You shall see what we are made of.
There he is, coming toward us.
Do you know me, sir?
Not that I am aware of, sir.
My name is the Baron de Sautonville.
I am very happy to hear it.
I had the honor of being one of the first to distinguish myself in the Ariaban at Nancy.
So much the better.
My father, Jean-Gilles de Sautonville, had the honor of assisting in person at the great siege of Montauban.
I am delighted.
And one of my ancestors, Bertrand de Sautonville, he was permitted to dispose of all his property to cross the seas.
I can easily believe it.
It has been reported to me, sir, that you are in love with and run after a young person who is my daughter, in whom I am interested, as well as in this man, my son-in-law.
Who? I?
Yes, and I am glad of the opportunity of speaking to you, in order to have this affair explained.
What strange slander is this? Who has told you that, sir?
Somebody who believes himself well informed.
This somebody has told a lie. I am a gentleman. Do you think me capable, sir, of such a base act? What? I love a young and handsome person who has the honour of being the daughter of the Baron de Sautonville? I respect you too much for that. Whoever has told you this is a fool.
Now, son-in-law?
What?
He is a rogue and villain.
Answer him.
Answer him yourself.
If I knew who it could be, I would in your presence run my sword through his body.
Support your assertion.
It is fully supported. It is true.
Is it your son-in-law, sir, who—
Yes, it is he himself.
Certainly, he may thank his stars for belonging to you, and without that I would pretty well teach him to talk in such a manner about a person like me.
With regard to that, jealousy is a strange thing. I have brought my daughter here to clear the matter up.
It is you, then, madam, who have told your husband that I am in love with you.
I? And how could I have told him? Is it so, then? I should really like to see you in love with me. Just attempt it, pray. You will find out with whom you have to deal. I advise you to try the thing. Have recourse, by way of experiment, to all the lovers' stratagems. Just attempt to send me, for the fun of it, some messages, to write me some small love letters, secretly, to watch the moments of my husband's absence. You have only to set about it. You shall be received as you ought.
Gently, gently, madam. There is no need to read me such a lesson, or to be so scandalized. Who told you that I thought of loving you?
How do I know? Who told me just now these stories?
They may say what they like, but you know best whether I ever spoke of love to you when we met.
You should have only done so. You would have been welcome.
I assure you that you have nothing to fear from me, that I am not a man to vex the fair, and that I respect you and your parents too much to have even the thought of falling in love with you.
Well, now you see.
Are you satisfied, son-in-law? What do you say to that?
I say that these are cock and bull stories, that I know what I know. She has just now received a message from him.
What? I have received a message?
I have sent a message?
Claudine?
That is a strange falsehood.
Hold your tongue, slut that you are. I know your tricks, and it is you who introduced the messenger just now.
I?
Yes, you. Do not look so innocent.
Alas, how full of wickedness people are nowadays, to suspect me thus. I, who am innocent myself.
Hold your tongue, you bad lot. You pretend to be a saint, but I have known you for a long time, and you are a sly jade.
Madam, have I...
Hold your tongue, I tell you. You may bear the brunt for all the others, and your father is not a nobleman.
It is a falsehood so gross, and which affects me so much, that I have not even the strength to answer it. It is very horrible to be accused by a husband when one has done nothing wrong to him. Alas! If I am to blame at all, it is for treating him too well.
Indeed you have.
My great misfortune is that I consider him too much, and would to heaven that I could tolerate, as he says, the attentions of someone else. Goodbye. I withdraw, and I cannot longer bear to be thus insulted.
Go. You do not deserve the virtuous wife you have got.
He deserves that she should make his words come true. And if I were in her place, I would not hesitate about it. Yes, sir, you ought to make love to my mistress, to punish him. Insist. It will be worth your while, and I offer to assist you.
You deserve, son-in-law, to have these things said to you.
Go. And take care not to make any more such blunders for the future.
It makes me mad to be put in the wrong when I am in the right.
You see, sir, how falsely I have been accused. You are a gentleman who know the punctilios of honour, and I demand satisfaction for the insult that has been offered to me.
That is just. Come, son-in-law, give this gentleman satisfaction.
Satisfaction?
It is right according to usage.
That is something which I do not at all agree, that I have wrongly accused him, and I know well enough what I think of it.
That does not matter. Whatever thought may remain in your mind, he denies it. That must satisfy people.
Thus, if I had found him in a bed with my wife, he would get off by simply denying it?
No more arguments. Make him the apologies.
Come,
I tell you. There is nothing to hesitate about, since you are guided by me.
I cannot.
Sound, son-in-law. Do not make me angry.
George Dandin?
First, take your cap in hand. This gentleman is a nobleman, and you are not. Sir?
Sir.
I crave your pardon. Ah!
I crave your pardon.
For the bad thoughts which I have had of you.
For the bad thoughts which I have had of you.
And I beg you to believe that I am your servant.
You would have me be the servant of a man who wants to make me a cuckold.
Ah!
It is sufficient, sir.
No, I will have him finish it.
That I am your servant.
Sir, I am yours with all my heart, and shall think no more of what has happened. As for you, sir, I wish you good day, and am sorry that you have had some annoyance.
I kiss your hand, and whenever you like, shall give you some sport in coursing.
You do me too much honour.
That is how things ought to be managed. Farewell. Remember that you have entered a family that will support you, and not suffer you to be affronted.
Ah, that I... You would have it so, you would have it so, George Dandin, you would have it so. This suits you very nicely, and you are served right. You have precisely what you deserve. Come. Everything depends only on undeceiving the father and mother. And perhaps I might find some means of succeeding.
End of Act 1. Act 2 of Georges Dandin, or The Abashed Husband, by Moliere, translated by Henry Van Loan. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1, Claudine Lubin.
Yes, I guessed well enough that it must have come from you, and that you told it to someone, who related it to Master.
I mentioned only a word of it to a man, that he might not say that he had seen me.
Really, the Viscount has well chosen his man in taking you for his messenger, and he has employed a fellow who is very lucky.
Never mind, I shall be more artful next time, and take greater care.
It will be high time.
Let us speak no more of this. Listen, turn your face a little toward me.
Well, what is it?
Claudine.
Well?
Lack a day. Do you not know what I mean?
No.
I love you.
Really?
You may believe me as I have sworn it.
So much the better.
I feel my heart going pit-a-pat when I look at you.
I'm very glad of it.
What do you do to be so pretty?
I do like others.
Look ye here. A nod's as good as a wink to a blind horse. If you like, you shall be my wife, and we shall be man and wife together.
Perhaps you will be jealous, like Master.
Not at all.
As for me, I hate your suspicious husbands, and I want one who is frightened at nothing. One so full of confidence and so sure of my chastity that he could see me in the midst of 30 men without being uneasy.
Very well, I shall be all that.
It is the silliest thing in the world to mistrust a wife and to torment her. The truth of the matter is that one gains nothing by it. Husbands make themselves what they are by their hubbub.
Well, I shall leave you free to do whatever you like.
That is what you should do, in order not to be deceived. When a husband relies on our discretion, we take no more liberty than what is right. It is just with them as with those who open their purses to us, saying, "Take," we use them discreetly, and content ourselves with what is right. But those who cavil with us, we try to fleece them, and do not spare them.
Be easy. I shall be like those who open their purse, and you have only to marry me.
Very well. We shall see.
Come here, Claudine.
What do you want?
Come here, I tell you.
I do not like fumblers.
Just a little bit of cuddling.
Let me alone, I tell you.
Claudine.
Have done.
Ah, how cross you are with folk. How disagreeable to refuse people. Are you not ashamed to be so pretty?
I shall slap your face.
Oh, how fierce, how savage she is.
You are too fast.
What harm would it do?
You must have patience.
Only a little kiss on account.
I am your humble servant.
You can deduct it afterwards.
Not if I know it. I have been taken in before. Goodbye. Go, and tell the Viscount that I shall deliver his note.
Goodbye, you cruel fair.
That is affectionate.
Goodbye, you rock, you stone block, you everything that is hard in the world.
I must deliver this to my mistress. But here she comes with her husband. Let us get out of the way.
No, no, I am not so easily deceived, and I am but too certain that what I have been told is true. I have better eyes than people fancy, and your talk just now has not dazzled me. Underneath all your grimaces, I have perceived the truth of what I have been told, and the little respect which you have for the tie that binds us. Good heavens, leave your bowing and scraping. It is not that kind of respect which I am talking, and you need not play the fool with me.
I play the fool? Not at all.
I know your thoughts, and understand. I am well aware that you think me much beneath you on account of your birth, and the respect of which I speak does not concern myself. I mean that of which you owe to such sacred ties as those of wedlock. You need not shrug your shoulders. I am not talking nonsense. I tell you once more that marriage is a bond, and that it ill becomes you to behave as you do.
Who dreams of shrugging her shoulders?
Yes, yes, it is very bad of you, and you need not nod your head and make faces at me.
I do not know what you mean.
I know it well enough, and I know your contempt for me too. If I was not born a nobleman,
One moment's conversation.
I belong at least to a race in which there is no stain. He...
What? I did not say a word.
There he is, prowling about you.
Well, is it my fault? What do you wish me to do?
Gallants never trouble a woman unless she wishes it. There are certain sweet looks which attract them as honey does flies, and virtuous women have a manner that drives them away immediately.
I drive them away, and for what reason? I am not scandalized at being thought handsome, and it affords me pleasure.
Just so, but what part would you have the husband act during this gallant performance?
The part of a sensible man who is glad to see his wife admired.
Much obliged. That does not suit me, and the Dandins are not accustomed to that fashion.
Then the Dandins will be good enough to accustom themselves to it. For, as to me, I declare that I do not intend to renounce the world and to bury myself alive with a husband. What? Because a man thinks fit to marry us, everything must be at an end immediately, and we must break off all intercourse with every living being. This tyranny of husbands is a marvelous thing, and I think it very kind of them to wish that we should be dead to all amusements, and that we should live for them only. I laugh at that, and do not wish to die so young.
Is it thus that you keep the vows of fidelity which you made to me before the world?
I do not make them willingly, and you force them from me. Did you, before marriage, ask me my consent in whether I cared for you? You consulted only my father and mother. In reality, they have married you, and therefore you will do well always to complain to them about the wrongs which you may suffer. As for me, who did not tell you to marry me, and whom you took without consulting my feelings, I do not pretend to be obliged to submit like a slave to your will. And by your leave, I mean to enjoy the few happy days of my youth, to take the sweet liberties which the age allows me, to see the fashionable world a little, and to taste the pleasure of having pretty things said to me. Prepare yourself for your punishment, and thank heaven that I am not capable of something worse.
Indeed, I am your husband, and I tell you that I do not understand this.
I am your wife, and tell you that I understand it perfectly well.
I have a great mind to beat her face to a jelly, and to bring it to a condition never more to charm those gallant sparks. Ah, come, George Dandin, you can hardly restrain yourself, and you had better leave the place.
I have been on the tenterhooks for him to go, madam, to give you this note from you-know-who.
Let us see.
To judge by appearances, what he tells her seems not at all displeasing.
Ah, Claudine, how prettily this note is worded! How agreeable these courtiers are in all their words and in all their actions! And what, after all, are our country people compared with them?
I think that, after having seen them, the Dandins hardly please you.
Remain here. I'm going to answer it.
I have no need, I think, to recommend her to make it agreeable. But here he comes. Really, sir, you have chosen a clever messenger.
I dared not send one of my own servants, but I must reward you, my pretty Claudine, for the good services which you have rendered me.
Ah, sir, there is no occasion for it. No, sir, you need not give yourself that trouble. I serve you because you merit it, and because I like you at heart.
I am obliged to you.
As we are going to be married, give it to me, that I may put it with mine.
I will keep it for you, as well as the kiss.
Tell me, have you given my note to your charming mistress?
Yes, she has just gone to answer it.
But, Claudine, is there no way to speak to her?
Yes, come along with me. I shall let you speak to her.
But will she not be displeased? And is there no risk?
No. Her husband is not at home. And, besides, he is not most to be considered. It is her father and mother. There is nothing to fear from the rest.
I trust myself to your guidance.
What a clever wife I shall have. She has wit enough for 4.
There is my man I saw just now. He could be brought to bear witness to the father and mother of what they would not believe.
Ah, there you are, Mr. Tittle-Tattle, whom I recommended so much not to talk, and who promised so much that he would not.
I?
Yes, you have repeated everything to the husband, and you are the cause of his having made a row.
Listen, friend.
If you had not blabbed, I would have told you what is going on just now, but you shall know nothing.
How? What's going on?
Nothing. See what you get by chattering.
Stop a little.
Not at all.
I wish to say only a word to you.
You wish to pump me? I am not such a fool as I look. You would like me to tell you that the Viscount gave some money to Claudine, but I'm not so silly.
Pray.
Nope.
I will give you...
Fiddlesticks.
I could not, with this idiot, make use of the idea which I had. But the fresh intelligence that has escaped him shall serve the same purpose. And if the gallant is indoors, that will be proof enough for the father and mother, and fully convince them of their daughter's shamelessness. The mischief is that I do not know how to make the best of this piece of news. If I go indoors, the rascal will escape, and however clearly I may see my own dishonor, I shall not be believed, and I shall be told that I am dreaming. If again I fetch my father-in-law and mother-in-law without being sure of finding the gallant inside, it will be no other thing. Can I not find out quietly if he be there still? Oh, heavens, there is no longer any doubt. I have just seen him through the keyhole. Fate gives me an opportunity of confounding my adversary, and, to complete the adventure, it sends the judges whom I need at the right moment. Just now, you would not believe me, and your daughter got the better of me, but at present my dishonor is so plain now that you cannot doubt it any longer.
You are going to cram your nonsense into our heads?
Yes, madam, and they do worse to mine.
Are you not weary of making yourself such a nuisance?
I am very weary of being made a dupe of.
Will you never get rid of your fancies?
No, madam, but I would like to get rid of a wife.
Be careful how you speak.
Try to find some less offensive terms.
I remember it well enough. The merchant who loses cannot laugh, and I shall remember it only too much.
Endeavor to speak of her more respectfully.
But why does she not endeavor to treat me more honestly? What, because she is a lady of noble birth?
What is the matter with you? Did you not see, this morning, that she denied all knowledge of the person you spoke to me about?
What would you say if I show you at this moment that the gallant is with her?
With her?
Yes, with her, in my house.
In your house? The honor of our family is dear to us above everything, and if you speak the truth, we shall discard her as our child.
You have only to follow me.
Take care.
Good heavens, you shall see. There, have I told a lie?
Goodbye. I'm afraid that you should be caught here, and I have to keep up appearances.
Promise me then, madam, to let me speak to you this night.
I shall try my best.
Let us get behind softly and try not to be seen.
Madam, all is lost. Here are your father and mother, and your husband with them.
Heavens!
Take no notice and leave it to me. What? Dare you to behave in such a manner after the affair of just now? And is it thus that you disguise your sentiments? I am told that you are in love with me, and that you intend to declare your affection for me. I show my annoyance at it and explain myself clearly to you before everyone. You stoutly deny the thing and pledge me your word that you have no thought of offending me. And yet, the self-same day, you have the impudence to come and call upon me to tell me that you love me, to say 100 silly things to me to persuade me to respond to your follies, just as if I were a woman to break the vows which I pledged to my husband, and ever to stray from that virtue which my parents have taught me. If my father knew of this, he would teach you indeed to attempt such things. But an honest woman does not like to make a stir. I do not care to tell him of it. You have not acted like a nobleman, and therefore I should not treat you as one.
Gently.
Strike hard, madam. Lay it on thickly.
If you have anything more on your mind, I am ready to answer you.
That will teach you whom you have got to deal with.
Ah, father, you here?
Yes, daughter, and I am glad to see you show yourself a worthy offspring of the house of Sultanville. Come here, let me embrace you.
Embrace me also, daughter. There, I weep for joy and recognize my blood in what you have just now done.
Son-in-law, how delighted you ought to be, and how satisfied you should be with this incident.
Without doubt, son-in-law, and you ought now to be the most satisfied of husbands.
Assuredly. You ought to be only too happy and kiss the ground she walks on.
Ah, you wretch!
What is the matter, son-in-law? Why do you not thank your wife a little for the affection which you see she shows for you?
No, father, there is no need for that. Whatever I have done is only out of self-respect.
Where are you going, daughter?
I am going away, father, not to be obliged to receive his compliments.
She is right to be angry. She is a woman who deserves to be worshipped.
Wicked wretch!
She is rather angry at what happened just now, and it will pass away if you caress her a little. Farewell, son-in-law. You see, you have no occasion to be any longer uneasy.
You ought to consider that she is a girl strictly brought up, and who is not accustomed to see herself suspected of any bad action. Farewell. I am delighted to see your quarrels ended, and the great joy which her conduct must afford you.
I do not say a word, for I should gain nothing by speaking. And never was anything known like my disgrace.
Yes, I wonder at my misfortune, and at the subtle skill of my jade of a wife to be always in the right and put me in the wrong. Is it possible that I shall always be outdone by her?
O heaven, assist me in my plans and vouchsafe me the favor of letting the world see that I am dishonored.
End of Act 2. Act 3 of Georges Dandin, or The Abashed Husband, by Moliere. Translated by Henry Van Loan. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1, Cletendre, Lubin.
The night is pretty far advanced, and I am afraid that it is too late. I cannot see where I am going, Lubin.
Sir?
Is this the way?
I think it is. Odds bobs! This is a silly night, to be so dark as this.
It is certainly not right. But if, on the one hand, it prevents us from seeing, on the other it prevents our being seen.
You are right. It is not so far wrong after all. It should like to know, sir, you who are so learned, why it is not day at night.
That is a great question, and one which is difficult to answer. You are inquisitive, Lubin.
That is true. Look here, I explain Latin, although I never learned it, and the other day, when I saw Collegium written upon a large door, I guessed that it meant college.
Marvellous. You can read then, Lubin?
Yes, I can read print, but I never could learn to read writing.
We are near the house.
After clapping his hands,
This is the signal that Claudine has given me.
Upon my word, she is worth her weight in gold, and I love her with all my heart.
That is why I took you with me to entertain her.
Sir, I am...
Hush, I hear a noise.
Claudine,
Well,
leave the door ajar.
I have done so.
It is they. Hush.
Hush!
Madam.
What?
Claudine!
What is it?
Ah, madam, how happy you make me.
Claudine! My poor Claudine!
Gently, sir.
Softly, Lubin.
Is it you, Claudine?
Yes.
Is it you, ma'am?
Yes. Is it not you, Clétendre?
Yes, madam.
My husband is snoring nicely.
Let us look for a seat somewhere.
That is a good idea.
Claudine! Whereabouts are you?
I heard my wife go downstairs, and I have quickly dressed myself to go down after her. Where can she have gone to? Has she left the house?
But where are you, Claudine? Ah, here you are. Your master is nicely caught, and I think it as funny as the cudgel blows just now, of which I was told. Your mistress says he was snoring at this moment like a pig, and he does not know that the Viscount and she are together while he sleeps. I should like to know what sort of a dream he's having now. It's quite laughable, and the Viscount does him too much honour. You're not saying a word, Claudine. Come, let us follow them, and give me your little hand that I may kiss it. Ah, how sweet it is. It's like eating jam. The deuce, how you go it?
Who is there?
No one.
He runs away and leaves me convinced of a fresh deception of my wretch. Come, I must send for her mother and father without delay, so that this adventure may get me separated from her. Hello? Colin? Colin?
Sir,
Quick, come down.
here I am. I could not come more quickly.
Are you there?
Aye, sir.
Softly. Speak low. Listen. Run to my father-in-law and mother-in-law, and say that I beseech them very urgently to come down here immediately. Do you hear? Come, Colin. Colin,
Sir?
where the devil are you?
Here.
I say that you are to go directly to my father-in-law and mother-in-law and tell them that I implore them to come here immediately. Do you understand me? Answer. Colin! Colin!
Sir!
The scoundrel will drive me mad. Come here, I say. Ah, wretch! He has maimed me. Where are you? Come here that I may thrash the life out of you. I believe he is running away from me.
Of course I am.
Will you come here?
Not likely.
Come here, I tell you.
Not a bit. You wish to thrash me.
Well, I will not thrash you.
For certain?
Yes. Come close. Good. It is lucky that I need you. Go quickly and ask my father-in-law and mother-in-law to come down here as soon as possible and tell them that it is a matter of the utmost consequence, and should they hesitate on account of the time, do not fail to insist upon it, and to give them to understand that it is most important that they should come, no matter how they are dressed.
Yes, sir.
And I will go indoors and wait till... But I hear someone. Can it be my wife?
Goodbye. It is time to separate now.
What? Already?
We have conversed enough.
Ah, madam, it would take whole days to explain to you clearly all that I feel, and I have not told you yet the smallest part of what I have to say to you.
We shall hear some more at another time.
Alas, how you pierce my heart when you talk of withdrawing, and with what amount of grief you leave me now.
We shall find means of seeing each other again.
Yes, but I cannot help remembering that, when you leave me, you go back to a husband. This thought kills me, and a husband's privileges are cruel things to a fond lover.
Are you weak enough to have such anxiety? And do you think it possible to love a certain sort of husbands? We marry them because we cannot help ourselves, and because we depend upon our parents who look only to riches, but we know how to be even with them, and we take good care not to value them above their deserts.
Dandin aside.
These are our strumpets of wives.
Alas, it must be admitted that the one they have given you little deserved the honour which he received, and that the union of a woman like you with a man like him is somewhat strange.
Poor husbands.
You deserve, no doubt, a quite different lot. Heaven did not create you to be a peasant's wife.
Madam, if you have any harm to say of your husband, you had better make haste, for it is getting late.
Ah, Claudine, how cruel you are.
She's right. We must separate.
Since you wish it, I must submit to it. But I pray you to pity me, at least, for the wretched moments that I am to pass.
Farewell.
Where are you, Claudine, that I may bid you good night?
Do not trouble. I accept it at a distance, and send you back the same.
Let us go in without making a noise.
The door is shut.
I have the master key.
Then open it softly.
It is bolted inside, and I do not know what we shall do.
Call the boy who sleeps there.
Colin! Colin! Colin!
Colin, Colin. I've caught you at it this time, Mistress Dandin, and you make little escapades while I am asleep. I'm very glad of it, and to see you abroad at this hour.
Well, what great harm is there in taking the fresh air at night?
Yes, yes, this is the right time to take the fresh air. It is rather the warm air, Mistress Jade. And we know all about the appointment between you and your Spock. We heard the whole of your gallant conversation, and the beautiful verses in my praise which you sang to each other. But my consolation is that I'm going to be avenged, and that your father and mother will be convinced now of the justice of my complaints. I have sent for them, and they will be here in a moment.
Oh, heavens!
Madam!
That is a blow, doubtless, which you did not expect, and it is now my turn to win, and I have the wherewithal to put down your pride and spoil your stratagems. Up till now you have laughed at my accusations. I might see and say what I would. Your cunning always got the better of my righteous cause, and you have always found some way to appear in the right.
Pray, let me in.
No, no. You must wait the arrival of those I have sent for. I wish them to find you out of doors at this nice time of night. While you are waiting for them, you had better contrive, if you like, some new scheme to get out of this scrape. To invent some way to palliate your escapade. To find some pretty trick to hoodwink the world and to appear innocent.
No, I have no intention of disguising anything from you. I do not pretend to defend myself nor to deny things, since you know them.
That is because you find no loophole left to you, and that in this affair you cannot invent an excuse of which it would be not easy for me to show the falsehood.
Yes, I confess that I am in the wrong and that you have reason to complain. But I beseech you not now to expose me to the anger of my parents, and let me in quickly.
I would see you far enough first.
There is a dear good husband.
A dear good husband, am I? I am your dear good husband now, because you are caught. I'm very glad of it.
There, I promise never again to give you any cause for displeasure and to...
All that does not signify. I will not lose this opportunity.
For mercy's sake, let me speak to you. I pray you for a moment's hearing.
Well, what is it?
It is true. I have been at fault. I admit it once again, and that your resentment is just. That I have taken advantage of your sleep to slip out, and that I went out to keep an appointment with the person whom you know. But after all, these are actions which you ought to pardon at my age, the follies of a young woman who has had no experience and has but just entered the world.
These are things in which one ought to have implicit faith.
I do not wish to pretend by this that I am without blame towards you, and I only entreat of you to forget an offence for which I heartily beg your pardon, and to spare me, for this once only, the vexation of the severe reproaches of my father and mother. If you will generously grant me the favour which I ask from you, your obliging conduct, your kindness towards me, will win me over entirely. It will thoroughly touch my heart, and produce there for you what neither the authority of my parents nor the bonds of marriage have been able to instill into it. In short, it will cause me to renounce all gallantries and to be attached solely to you. I pledge my word I will be the best wife in the world to you.
Ah, you crocodile that flatters people to strangle them.
Grant me this favor.
Not a jot. No.
Show yourself generous.
No.
For pity's sake.
Not at all. No, no, no. I wish them to be undeceived about you.
Very well. If you drive me to despair, I warn you that a woman in that condition is capable of everything. I shall do something of which you shall repent.
And what will you do, pray?
I shall be driven to the most desperate resolution. And with this knife shall I kill myself on the spot.
Ha ha! Well and good.
Not so well and good as you imagine. People are acquainted on all hands with our quarrels and the perpetual ill will which you foster against me. When they find me dead, no one will doubt that you have killed me, and certainly my parents are not the people to leave my death unpunished. And they will punish you to the utmost extent which the law and the heat of their resentment will allow. That is the way in which I shall find means to be revenged upon you, and I am not the first who has had recourse to that kind of vengeance, and who has not scrupled to take her own life in order to destroy those who had the cruelty to drive her to this last extremity.
I am not to be caught in that way. People no longer kill themselves, and the fashion has gone out long since.
You may rely upon my doing it. And if you persist in your refusal, if you do not let me in, I swear to you that I shall immediately show you how far the resolution of a desperate woman will go.
Nonsense, nonsense. You wish to frighten me.
Very well. Since it must be, this will content us both, and will show whether I am jesting. Ah, it is done. Heaven grant that my death may be avenged as I wish, and that he who is the cause of it may receive a just chastisement for his cruelty towards me.
Good gracious. Could she have been malicious enough to kill herself to get me hanged? Let us take a bit of candle to go and see.
Hush! Keep still. Let us place ourselves immediately, one on each side of the door.
Can the wickedness of a woman go as far as that? There's no one here. Well, I thought so. And the hussy has gone away, finding that she could gain nothing from me. So much the better. It will make matters still worse for her, and her father and mother will see her crime all the more plainly when they come. Ah! The door's fallen too. Hello! Oh! Someone! Open the door for me, quickly!
What? Is it you? Where have you been, you wretch? Is this a time to come home when it is nearly daybreak? And is this the life which an honest husband ought to lead?
A pretty thing to go about drinking all night, and to leave a poor young creature of a wife by herself at home.
What? You have...
Get along, you wretch! Get along! I am sick of your going-ons, and I will complain of them without delay to my father and mother.
What? You dare to...
Pray come here to protect me against the most consummate insolence of a husband whose brain has been so muddled by wine and jealousy that he no longer knows what he's saying or doing, and has himself sent for you to make you witnesses of the most extravagant behavior you ever heard of. This is how he comes back, as you may see, after making me wait all night for him. And were you to listen to him, he will tell you that he has the greatest complaints to make against me, that while he was asleep, I left his side to go gadding about, and 100 other stories which he has taken into his head.
There's a wicked strumpet.
Yes, he wishes to make out that he was in the house, and that we were outside.
How now?
Here is a confounded impudence to send for us.
Well, I never.
Oh, father, I can no longer put up with such a husband. My patience is exhausted, and he has been saying all manner of insulting words to me.
You are a vile fellow.
It is pity to see a poor young wife treated in such a fashion.
Can anyone...
You ought to die with shame.
Allow me to say 2 words.
Only listen to him. He will tell you something pretty.
I give it up in despair.
He has drunk so much that there is no staying near him.
Sir, father-in-law, I implore you.
Withdraw.
I pray you, madam.
Away! Do not come near me.
Allow me to...
Withdraw. I tell you, there is no bearing you.
For pity's sake, let me...
Fie upon it. You make me sick. Speak if you will, but at a distance.
Very well, then. I will speak at a distance. I swear to you that I have not stirred out of the house, and that it was she who went out.
Did I not tell you so?
Away!
You see how likely that is.
Go. You are jesting with people. Descend, daughter, and come here.
I take heaven to witness that I was in the house and that—
Hold your tongue. This extravagance is unbearable. Do not pester my head any longer, but rather think of asking your wife's pardon.
I ask pardon?
Yes, pardon, and immediately.
What?
I pardon him all that he has said to me?
How can she bear it?
Such separations, daughter, are not brought about without a great deal of scandal, and you should show yourself wiser than he.
How can I be patient after such indignities? No, father, I cannot consent to it.
You must, daughter. I command you.
This word stops my mouth. You have absolute authority over me.
What gentleness!
It is vexatious to have to overlook such insults, but it is my duty to obey you.
Poor lamb.
Draw near.
Whatever you make me do will be of no use. We shall have to recommence tomorrow, you will see.
We shall put a stop to it. Come, go down on your knees.
On my knees?
Yes, on your knees, and without delay.
Oh, heavens. What am I to say?
Madam, I beg of you to pardon me.
Madam, I beg of you to pardon me.
The folly I have committed.
The folly I have committed of marrying you.
And I promise you to behave better for the future.
And I promise you to behave better for the future.
Take care, and remember that this is the last of your impertinences that we shall endure.
By the heavens above us, if you try them again, you shall be taught the respect due to your wife.
The day is breaking. Farewell. Go in and learn to behave better. And we, love? No! Let us go to bed.
I give it up altogether. And I can see no help for it. When one is married, as I have done, a wicked wife, the best step is to go and throw oneself into the water, head foremost.
End of Act 3. End of Georges Dandin, or The Abashed Husband, by Moliere. Translated by Henry Van Loan. Dramatis Personae.
George Dandin, a rich farmer, husband to Angelique. Read by MajorToast.
Monsieur de Sautonville, a country gentleman, Angelique's father. Read by Todd.
Clitandre, in love with Angelique. Read by Thomas Peter.
Lubin, a peasant, servant to Clitandre. Read by Alan Mapstone.
Colin, George Dandin's servant. Read by Stefan.
Angelique, George Dandin's wife, read by Bavia.
Madame de Sautonville, read by Sonia.
Claudine, Angelique's maid, read by Liane Yao.
Stage directions, read by T.J. Burns.